another thing that I tell myself is like, why didn't you just make this decision for yourself? You were dreaming of this. You were hoping for it. You wanted this company. I just couldn't do it until it was forced on me.
It's like watching a good show. You get invested in the characters. These are the characters in your real life that you're invested in their well-being and how things are going.
You don't want to hire people because then you have to worry about having work for them and you might have to lay people off. But it was that conversation where I realized, no, I want to build a company that's not focused on me, that's focused on growing a company.
Welcome to Hindsight the Podcast. I'm Lee Jones, your host. And look, what changes when you stop chasing visibility and start leading with your voice? Today, we'll explore how thought leadership turns real experience into influence without sacrificing values, family, or focus. Today, I'm sitting here with Kelly Galigi. Schuknecht.
You got it. Schuknecht. You got it.
So Kelly is a marketing strategist and thought leadership expert, founder of 2 Mile High Marketing and host of Beyond the Bestseller. You still hosting that?
I am.
All right. So today we'll get practical about clarity, confidence, and showing up with purpose. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Lee. I am wearing my brand colors. I don't know if we have video here. You mentioned YouTube. So I've got my my pink on, my podcast recording day. It's a great day.
And we always like to start off with some fun. So thank you for bringing that last name, which gave me the tongue twister ease in the morning.
It is a challenging name. It's, Lee Jones. You've got a very easy name. I'm not so lucky, but it's okay.
Where are you calling in from today?
I am in Colorado. So actually the name of my company is 2 Mile High Marketing because I live at 2 miles high in elevation. So that's why I named my company that.
Wow. All right. So if you need to take a breath or two between, I'm just playing. You live in there, so you're good to go. How was it like living in Colorado? Like and I'm not lying, you're the third person in a row that I have interviewed who are in Colorado, who is in Colorado. And I have a guy who works with me who's trying to get to Colorado. So what are you guys trying to tell me? Like, what is the messaging here that's going on?
Yeah, no kidding.
How is it living? Yeah, how is it living in Colorado?
I love it here. So I actually grew up in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
The flatlands of Nebraska. And Denver was like 8 hours away or something, a 7 or 8 hour drive. And so I used to, high school, we'd drive out to Colorado and I just loved Colorado. And so I moved here right after college. I have lived here ever since. And I love it. I love the outdoors. I love the view. I love the mountains. So it's my home.
Yeah. I see the photos and, for me, so I was in the Army, right? I never went to Denver or wherever the Army base is out there. But my first duty station was Alaska. And here's the reason why I say that. I look at Colorado. The photos look amazing with the snow. But actually living in it, a whole nother mentality. How is it for you during the winter? I can't even say during the winter time. It's during the fall, winter. Like, how is it for you in Colorado dealing with the snow?
The worst season here is the spring because everyone else starts posting pictures on social media. It's like, the flat, like we're gardening and we're mowing the lawn, right? And we're like, it's still snowing.
Yeah, I know that's right.
Yeah. But that said, having grown up in the Midwest, it is like really, really cold in the Midwest and like in the wintertime. And you get that freezing ice on the road and stuff like that. In Colorado, it's just snow. It can get annoying when you're trying to go somewhere and you've got snow on the roads, but it's still beautiful and we get to enjoy outdoors even when it snows. So don't let that hold you back.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I'm from Maryland, so I'm familiar with snow. But anyway, we won't get into that too much. I love the snow. We'll leave it at that. So what got you into thought leadership? In like in one sentence, what is thought leadership to you?
Hmm. One sentence, I would say, thought leadership is sharing your expertise with the world. Uh, to answer the first question, what got me into it? I started my career in publishing. So for 10 years, I worked in a publishing company, and then I shifted from that to marketing. And I built a marketing department, and I worked directly with a CEO who was a thought leader. And uh, kind of my in with him was my publishing background because he
Mhm.
wanted help with publishing a book, and then that led to conversations that led to him hiring me. And then I helped him develop his thought leadership platform. So I helped him get speaking events, helped him publish his first book. I helped him with his second book, and helped him get on stages. And so when I started my own company, I decided to kind of take all of that, the skills and experience that I had and what I had done with him, and turn that into a service offering and helping other business owners develop their thought leadership platform. What I've learned is that a lot of business owners, they know their stuff, they're experts in their industry. They just don't have the time all the time to put themselves
Mm,
out there. And so what I do is help them get out there, and in most cases they know that when they speak, when they have that book, it helps them bring in more clients for their business.
yeah, yeah. So how was it? How? Okay. So how do you use some of your marketing experience? Do you still? So you don't? I know you use it. It's marketing, right? Everyone has to have some marketing experience. How do you? How does that experience with building that marketing department help you now?
Yeah. Well, one of the things is, so when I was first thinking about starting my business, I had somebody who told me, like, "Oh, you don't want to start an agency. You don't want to hire people because then you have to worry about having work for them, and you might have to lay people off." But it was that conversation where I realized, no, I want to build a company. I don't want to be a solopreneur. I want to build a
Hmm.
company that's not focused on me. That's focused on growing a company, right?
Hmm.
Because I loved building a team. That's what I loved. I loved working with people, developing a team, and I'm seeing that in my own business now, that is
Uh,
actually what I really enjoy about business is having a team of people, and developing them, their
yeah.
skills. So, as far as the marketing experience though, so I now work with, like I said, work with business owners, helping them
Hmm.
get speaking events, helping them with getting podcast interviews. We do their LinkedIn, executive LinkedIn management, and then we help with the ghostwriting, so getting them a book in hand, so when they're going on out on stage, they have that. And the marketing experience I have kind of is on the one side, building my team, right, and developing team members who are serving the clients, and then
Hmm.
also helping our clients. Sometimes clients will come to me and they're like, I could speak on anything, right? And it's like, well, that's great. But let's focus on, what's
Focus.
the
Yeah.
best thing for you to be, who's your target audience? And I help them with refining their messaging, determining what those topics are for them to speak on, and then finding those events that are the best fit for them. So that's where the marketing piece comes in, is helping them market themselves.
Yeah. Hey, Kelly, that was not a trick question. I totally forgot the last word in your company's name was marketing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, yeah. So I appreciate you at least bearing with me, right? And then explaining how that marketing works, right? So
yeah.
it's basically for your clients. What does it do for you? So what shifted you from chasing visibility to like serving value?
Well, it's funny that you say that in your intro, because one of the things I talk about when I go out on stages is visibility and getting visible,
Uh-huh.
right?
Well, it kind of works hand in hand, but yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
but you're right. I mean, it's not just about getting visible. It's also about, how you're serving your clients, right? And the
Yeah,
value that
yeah.
you're providing them. So what I teach people is it's important to get visible, also to build credibility. So it's not just about getting in front of your target audience, but it's also about how you show up, right?
Mm,
So for example, if I want to be seen as a credible expert in my industry, I can't show up in pajamas when I'm speaking on
mm,
stage, right? Like
yeah,
I need to be show up as the professional. I want people to see me a certain way, so I need to show up in that way, right?
right.
And then um, when it comes to serving our clients, uh I am, like, obsessed with getting results for my clients, and so I wanna make sure that I'm, kind of coaching my team around that. Like, I want them to be excited about the results that we're getting for our
Mhm.
clients, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
that's really what it's all about is my the visibility for me is so people know who I am and what I do, right? But then when it comes to serving my clients, I want to help them get visible and help them get those results that they want, right?
Yeah.
Which serves 2 purposes. One is it keeps them working with us, right? The more results I can get for them, the more they wanna keep working with us. So,
Big
there's
one, big
there's
one.
one side of it, that's the selfish side of it, right? But the other side of it is they came to us for a purpose. They came to us because they want to get results in their business. So the better we are at serving them, the better it is for their business as well, and we're impacting their business. So it's a win-win when we get those results for them.
Yeah. So we're talking about values and what boundary helps your clients, helps any of us that are listening right now protect your personal values, professional values at work and at home. Like what boundary helps you do that?
Hmm. Boundary, like, as far as, with a client or with, like, within the workplace?
Yeah, I made it wide open. That's why, so like if you have values and things are challenging your values, especially at work, like what kind of boundary can you set? Like maybe a mantra, or maybe a keyword or something triggers you, right? Is there a boundary except
Yeah.
for just feeling it, from your perspective?
Yeah, so I don't know if this is a boundary, but I've learned about myself that, while I'm obsessed with, getting results for clients and also, I have a team and I want to develop my team, I wanna be available to them all the time, right?
Hmm.
And I have to set boundaries for myself as far as well, here's a perfect example. My go-to person on my team, I woke up this morning and I was like, "Oh, I have to tell her this thing." And I went to message her and I saw the note that she's out of the office until Tuesday, and I was like, "Oh, but
Yeah.
I so badly wanna message you right now," right? And
Isn't that the
but,
truth?
I try to create those boundaries or just, a team of a culture of respect for team members, right?
Mm, mhm, mhm.
Um, it's okay to send a message when you're not working or to maybe check in, check your messages, whatever. That's okay, and I want people to know it's okay to do that, but also it's okay to just be like, "I'm out. I'm out for a couple
Yeah,
days," right?
yeah,
And, so for this particular team member, I was like, "Okay, how can I get this out of my head without messaging her and making her think about work right now?" So we have an agenda for our weekly meeting, so I
mm,
went there and I put my thoughts in there, right? Like, "We can talk about this next week. I do not need to message you right now." So that's a
right.
boundary I'm setting for her, but also for myself, reminding myself that I don't always have to be available. I don't always have to answer things.
Yeah.
There are ways, especially in a remote work environment, which is what my team is, that we can put our thoughts aside and not lose them, but also not bother people all the time in the moment when we're thinking about things. We can structure things in a way that
Yeah.
we can think about those things that we want to talk to them about in the time that makes
Mhm.
sense, not in the moment. So
Yeah, that was kind of a hard question, and I worded it funny, but, just thinking about it, I believe, when we get out and we have these external forces that are penetrating us, internally, right? Sometimes our values begin to adjust, begin to change slightly. And I think taking a moment, taking a step back and just reassessing who you are, day to day, just checking in with yourself. What are your values? And just understanding that they're coming. Like you're going to have someone who's going to ask you to do something unethically, or someone that's going to challenge your values. And if you don't know who you are or what your values are, you don't take that time to remember, what you got in this for. All right. You can fall short sometimes. Right. So I just believe going back, looking in the mirror, just understanding who you are, never forgetting it, right? Taking that time, setting that boundary of time that elapses before you go in and reassess who you are. I think that's what I'm trying to say. What do you think about that? Just
Yeah,
understanding
yeah,
who you are.
yeah. Yeah, well, the respect piece that I talked about,
Mhm.
respecting people's time, that was
I like that
important to
too.
me from a value perspective because,
Mhm.
I spent 20 years of my career as an employee working for somebody else,
Yeah.
and there were many, many times where I felt disrespected as far as my time, right?
Mm.
And so that was a value I wanted within my company. And it's
Mm.
hard. It's hard sometimes because you're like, this is really important to me right now, right? But I remember being in that place where my time was not valued to my employer,
Mhm.
didn't care about my time, right? And so I felt like I was working all the time and had to be available all the time. So I don't wanna create that environment in
Mhm.
my workplace, in the place that I'm creating. So I think my answer is still the same. I think it's that respect though is the actual value
I like it.
that I really want to instill in my team.
And I can fully agree with you. I told you I was in the military, so they definitely did not respect my time.
Yep.
Uh, so I wholeheartedly agree with you there. I love the answer, by the way. Can you share one early misstep that you had in creating 2 Mile High marketing and the lesson that it taught you?
I think for a misstep, I think that I thought that I could handle it all for too long. We grew really quickly and brought on a lot of clients, and so the whole time I kept telling like, "Yeah, I can do that. I can do that." Like I was doing a lot of
Yeah.
things, and I don't know how I could have known better earlier, but I do know once I decided to hire, I hired like 7 people at the same time,
Mm,
and then that was a whole nightmare in onboarding and training and, out of 7 people, not everyone works out, right? And then you had to
yeah.
start over and I look back and I think one thing I maybe could have done was hired people more, I don't know, just hired a little faster and figured things
Mhm.
out a little quicker instead of me trying to do everything. Because there was a period of time there where I had a month or 2 where I was going through all of that onboarding training and having to serve the clients because the people that I'd hired
Yeah.
couldn't do that yet, so I created more like a harder time period for myself than if I had maybe started hiring a little quicker
Mhm, mhm.
earlier on. I don't know. I I really don't know how I could have done that better, but I
Yeah.
do know I've learned now I need to hire as soon as we need it, hire the person because hiring a lot of people all at once was created a bigger challenge.
That's a great lesson. That's a great point. And obviously, if you were to do it all over again, that's when you would apply that lesson. But the other lesson is a lot of times you, the entrepreneur or the manager or the who supervisor, you take on a lot of stuff anyway because it is difficult to train up the next person, right? So it's
Yeah.
like I might as well do it myself. And
Yeah.
eventually you get overwhelmed, right? Eventually you're going to still have to train this person. So getting that message early, like I'm purposefully hiring you to do this thing, and that means I have to train you up, or I'm bringing you into this role, right? So I think that's an important lesson for entrepreneurial type spirits or minds, because you feel if you're going to do it right, you got to do it yourself, right? That's a common saying. And when you want to grow, if you want to scale, then you're going to have to entrust and empower others to
Yeah.
take on some of those responsibilities. So yeah, that's a great one. Hire people quicker, especially when you already got the formula. to scale and to grow. So, how
Yeah.
was it, by the way? How was it when you first started with your business? Was it a little nerve wracking? Was it you had all the answers? How did that go for you mentally?
Um, yeah, I think I definitely did not have all the answers.
Hmm.
One thing I know I did well was made decisions quickly though, because
Yeah.
I think that we tend to overthink or yeah, just like I just did not have the perspective of like everything has to be perfect. I was just like make decisions quickly, bring people,
Mm,
get clients on board. So I was doing that very quickly. And I think that what helped me a lot was having a lot of conversations with people, other business owners, and just learning from every conversation. My mindset at the beginning was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, right? And then quickly, started figuring things out and started
yeah,
making
yeah.
decisions and started, hiring the people I needed. So, I think if I would have sat on things and thought like, "Oh, I don't know," and
Hmm.
and not made decisions, it would be a totally different, um, situation,
Yeah,
right? But I knew I needed to make decisions quickly and move forward.
yeah,
So yeah, so I think I did a lot of that, and mindset-wise, yeah, it's I went from being an employee to being an employer, and that's a big shift, in your mindset.
yeah. Was it hard for you to make that transition? Like, what made you say, you know what? And you gave a little bit. You talked a little bit about how you switched over and you started the business, but give us that boom, that would hit you in the gut. Like I'm done. I need to do my own thing. I have a different not necessarily a different vision, but I have an expanded vision of what it is that I'm doing right now, and I need to do it my way. Was it that type of aha for you, or did it just make logical sense?
You
You
know,
had a skill set and you wanted to go in this
I
direction.
I wish that I could say I made this decision myself and I was so empowered I wanted to just go out on my own. The reality is I was pushed off the ledge because I lost my job.
Mm, okay.
So, I was in marketing, as I told you, and the company that I was working for was acquired, and I didn't lose my job until about 2.5 years after the acquisition, but I had that 2.5 years where I was like, "I think I'm gonna lose my job."
Mm,
The company that acquired us was 5 times our size, they had a marketing department already, um and so for 2.5 years, I was just thinking, like, "What will I do next?" And, I had dreamed up this company. I actually had a website probably a year before I lost my job. I had hired somebody to work on my website.
yeah.
It's now on, like, iteration 5, like, it's not the same website, but at the time, it was like I was thinking about it so much that I was like, "I need to have a website, and I need to have a plan, and I need to" I need
Mm,
to have a name. I had the name of the business already, um, and then the day that they let me go, I went, "Well, I guess this is happening."
yeah. Thank God you put some thought to it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't have any clients or anything yet, but
Right.
and really things evolved pretty quickly once I was forced into making decisions. It was like, I was like, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do this, maybe, and then all of a sudden it was
Hmm.
like, okay, what am I doing? Because I've got to get clients coming in now.
Yeah.
So it was forced on me in a way, but clearly. I had the mindset of I'm ready for this. Like I
Hmm.
think I knew that for a long time, and looking back, it's another thing that I tell myself is like, why didn't you just make this decision for yourself? You were dreaming of this, you were hoping for it, you wanted this company, right? But I just couldn't do it until it was forced on me. And then I know now that's what I was
Yeah.
supposed to do. Uh I just was scared. And I think that a lot of us
Yeah.
are scared to bet on ourselves, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, I just kind of
I
was forced into it.
Yeah, I have similar story, and once again, it's from the military perspective and transitioning out of the military. And I know, at least for me, I can honestly know, and from others who I've spoken with, since and while I was in the military, transitioning from the military back into the civilian side is mentally, I'll just say challenging. Like it's stressful. right? Some people
Yeah.
prepare for it better than others, but it's still a stressful thing. Everything in the military is structured, it's a certain way, and that's it, right? You have people doing certain things like you don't have to worry about, well, you got to worry about your finances, but you don't have to worry about like putting in the paperwork or HR type stuff. Like all of this stuff is taken care of. And when you get out, you understand it. A lot of these things you have to do on your own. So there's a fear, but the problem is that fear is it's kind of made up, I guess, unless you've had PTSD. I mean, you had some other things, right, that can contribute to it. But if you're just a normal service person and you're transitioning out and everything is okay, like you build this fear up. And I would say the unknown, but it's not like you weren't in the civilian side before you went into the military. But for me personally, it was nerve-wracking, and I wish I had done it sooner, you know?
Yeah.
I had aspirations of getting out sooner, but then there was that fear of pivoting or jumping is what I thought it was, and all it was just
Yeah.
signing some paper. Like, it wasn't even a big deal, right, when you get out. So, some people it is a little bit of a big deal, and I understand the mentality of it, right? But if you prepare, you had that thought about what it is I need to do or want to do. I think more important for you is what I want to do, right? You just have an
Yeah.
idea of what I want to do when I leave here, which I believe is important. And I'm
Yeah.
saying all of these words for some of the military, listeners that I have out there. Um, when you transition, it's not as scary as you believe that it's going to be,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
really isn't. You just have to make the step. You have to prepare. You got to understand the gap that you need to close and close it, and then everything should be fine.
Yeah.
It's a crazy world. Everyone has different experiences, but so I appreciate you telling me that story and giving me that, because a lot of people, that we do live in fear, and it takes something like that, a door closing, for us to understand, oh, that door was already open like 2 years ago. Like I could have done this a while ago. So what you said, there was some time when um you were kind of like, I'm gonna do this, maybe, and maybe I want to do that. Like, and then you made a decision. Like, what locked it in? Was it a financial thing? Was it just I'm scatterbrained right now, I just need to lock in? Like, what made you lock in to figure out how I need to go from where I'm at to getting clients in the door?
Yeah, I think it was easy to dream about what I thought I was gonna do was provide fractional CMO services.
Okay.
And so that was easy to dream about, like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna do this," right? But when it came down to, like, how do I actually talk to somebody and tell them that this is what I'm offering, and what does that
Yeah.
actually mean? And I was hearing at the time, a lot of business owners were saying that they hired a fractional CMO and they came in and you know, didn't really do anything for them. And so I was kind of like, well, I don't want to be one of those people. There's so many
Hmm.
fractional service providers out there right now.
Yep.
And so when it came to like actually announcing on LinkedIn that I was starting this business, uh, I wanted more clarity around what I was providing for business owners. And so I decided that rather than position myself as a fractional CMO, I wanted to really be clear about how we were going to help businesses. So uh, one of the things that came to me, it was somebody asked in a community I'm a part of, somebody asked, "Can somebody help me get speaking events?" And I was like, "Yeah, I could do that." So
Mhm.
it was like kind of this quick like, "Oh, yes, I can help with that." Right? So how can I serve this client? And so I created a package of, here's what we can do. We can help you get speaking events, podcast interviews, LinkedIn, we'll do your LinkedIn management. I packaged it up and was like, "This is what we do." And he was like, hired. Like, I mean, he hired me within a week, and I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay." And then I started mentioning to other people, like, "This is what I'm doing." And they were like, "Oh, we need that." Because a lot of
Mm.
times business owners, they know they need to get on stage. They know they should be doing more, podcasting, more LinkedIn content. They know they should do that. They just don't have time, or maybe they don't have the team members to do it, or they have team members, but their team members aren't specialized in that kind of thing. So it took off really quickly because it just resonated with a lot of business owners, and
Yeah.
they like I said, they were just like, "Oh, yeah, we have in our plan for this year, we wanna do more speaking events.
Mhm,
We'd
mhm.
love to hire you," So some of it was just some of it I wanna say chance and luck, right? But, like, it was, like, because I was leaning into
Yeah.
what I don't know if it was intuition, but it was like I was understanding that, like, I needed to differentiate myself in the marketplace and not just be a fractional CMO provider, but be very specific in how I can help, and then I think that made a all the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I like it. So you help them get speaking gigs. You help them get on podcasts and do other things. Do you help them to develop their tone or their story or their messaging? Does that is that a part of the service as well?
Yeah, so we start out with so some clients come to us and they already know what they would talk about. They already have their core
Yeah.
topics or whatever. But some come to us, like I mentioned earlier, and they're like, "Yeah, I could speak on anything." And I'm like, "Great. Okay, but what are your goals? Like why are you wanting to speak? Who are the people that you're trying to reach and why?" Right? And then
Mhm.
we come up with 3 presentation briefs for them. So kind of
Mhm.
just like the go-to topics that they could cover at any event, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then, so we help them refine that, and then we do the pitching for them. So, uh, if I'm looking at an event where they're specifically looking for, they might have a list of topics, like these are the things that we want, I
Mhm.
can kind of tweak the presentation brief to fit the need of that event, right? So we'll kind
Right.
of work with that. And then if they need help with a lot of my clients will like send me, they'll record themselves giving their talk and then send it to me like, can you give me feedback? And so I'll help with that kind of
That's
thing, give
nice.
them feedback and
Yeah.
prepare them for the event that they're going to.
So, like, all right, so we just had a conversation. We're having a conversation. Now we just had a we're having a conversation right now. I asked you a question. You say, "Hey, well, really, I got let go by this." Like, you gave a personal story, right? So, how do you decide for yourself? How do you decide for your clients which personal stories to share and like which ones to keep private? Do you have that in depth type of conversation with them?
As far as like coaching them around telling their stories or my own stories?
Yeah, because a lot of times when you go out and you have speaking engagements, it's kind of it should be wrapped around a story, right? A
Mhm.
personal story that you can give out about yourself, for whatever the purpose of your talk is. And I'm just wondering, is there a thought on a personal story that you should tell, and then maybe ones that you probably shouldn't tell? Is that
I have a
ever
couple
a
cousins that are
conversation?
like, "You shouldn't tell that," but,
Yeah.
I actually so one of my clients, he works with e-commerce companies,
Uh
he's a
huh.
website developer for e-commerce companies, and one of the things that, some of the companies that the industry he specializes in is manufacturing, and, a lot of manufacturing companies are kind of old, outdated, right, in their
Hmm.
in their
Hmm.
technology, and it's hard to update things, and so he actually started he had a talk that he gave, and he started it talking about his experience as a DJ and how as a DJ 20 years ago, he used to carry around all these records and he'd have to come in with all the stuff. And then the world changed and, went to everything's digital now, so you don't
Yeah.
have like
Yeah.
everything's on your computer and whatever. And he was telling this story and then relating it to manufacturing companies and how like they need to update their technology. And I don't know, I was like, what a brilliant story to
Yeah.
share. It's a personal story and then it ties into your message and what you want them to take away from it. And I think that's the key. So I haven't, like I said, I haven't heard anyone tell a story where I'm like, "Ooh, don't tell that story."
Mm.
But typically but stories are important and not everyone leans into their story. So you made a good point about how you should have a story that you're tying into your message. And so I think it's the more creative, the better. And those personal stories really do help people connect with you and
Mhm.
help your message stick with them. So it is important, I think, to be thinking about those stories that you can share and how you
Yeah.
can help people relate.
Yeah. You said you also have you packaged in the LinkedIn part of it, right? What's one action? What's one freebie that you give to a prospective client? One action this week for someone who feels invisible online.
Yeah. So I do have some tools I can share with you, Lee, that you could maybe put in the show notes. But I do have a LinkedIn optimization checklist that I could
Mhm.
share with for anyone who's wanting to maybe improve their LinkedIn presence. And one tip that I would give is to post to LinkedIn 2 to 3 times a week. If your audience, if you're B2B and your audience is on LinkedIn, show up 2 to 3 times a week. I know that might feel like a lot if you're not posting at all, but one of the things that I teach is that it's that consistency, is that that's what reminds people that you exist. And I know
Mhm.
we talked about not focusing on getting visible, but if people don't know you exist,
Yeah.
uh, they're never going to work with you, right? So that visibility and showing up regularly is really important. So I recommend to people 2 to 3 times a week posting on LinkedIn and making
Mhm.
your content as engaging as possible. So not just posting for the sake of posting, but thinking about
Right.
how you can show up as a thought leader and teaching your audience something new.
Yeah. What I know I'm blasting at it, and I appreciate you these questions, but like what metrics tell you that your thought leadership strategy is working? What two metrics do you look at to kind of, make sure that what we're you got it.
Yeah. When it comes to LinkedIn, the one thing we look at is your SSI score. So it's the Social Selling Index, which
Mhm.
you can find on LinkedIn. It will tell you what percentage, like where you fall within your industry and within your network. So you
Mm.
want to shoot for the lower the number, the better. So we shoot for like a 1 to 2% for our clients. So that's one metric that we look at. So every month we report on that and show them where they're at. The other thing I would just say is like engagement in general. So we look at the posts that they've put out or that
Mhm.
we've put out for them over the last month, and we look at what has been the most engaging content, and we look at the number of likes, the number of shares, the number of comments, and we report on those numbers so that they can see what's working, because
Mhm.
it might be different for everyone, but we want to make sure that we're posting what people are going to engage with the most, right? Because that's how you're going to get the most visibility. It's going to be shared out to more people the more engaging it is.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I got a personal question.
Go for it.
For you, but you can say, well, my friend came to me with this, right? So something you would tell someone, right? But how do your friend, your buddy, how should they handle criticism or feedback without taking it personally and still do your best? Now, I ask this question selfishly. I think I have thick skin, but I do have a team of people who sometimes don't have thick skin, right? And sometimes, they're always in defense mode. So, like, how would you handle that?
Yeah. I think there's 2 sides to that question. One
Yeah.
is, because I have had a boss in the past who would tell me, like, "You don't take criticism well."
Mm.
And the way that he saw criticism was like, "I'm gonna punch you in the face every time I have something to critique," right? Like, it
Mhm.
would be shocking, it would be out of the blue, it would be like these things where you're like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
That is so half of it is in the delivery, right? Like, if you're gonna shock me with your feedback, I'm not gonna take it well. However, if you're looking at it like, how can I help this person receive this feedback in a way that's going to help them grow and improve going forward, the delivery has to be very different, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
so I am careful. There's times where I might be frustrated with a team member and not like something that's happening, right? But if I just react in that moment, it's not gonna help them, right? I have to think about what are the ways that I can help this person grow. So on the other side of that, the person taking the feedback, it's hard to get feedback sometimes, right? But
Mhm, mhm.
I think we have to learn about ourselves that that feedback, even if it's a punch in the face and something that feels very out of the blue, um, those that when I would get that type of feedback, I would take that and I would reflect on it and I would think about where was that coming from? How can I apply that? So I think that sometimes it is hard to take it, but we also have to maybe take a step back and try to put ourselves in that person's shoes. Why did they say that? What is the teaching moment from this that I can take and use that going forward? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so I do think the delivery is half of it, right? And you have to be
Mhm, mhm.
for the leader to deliver feedback in a way that can be received and not just hurtful.
Alright, so one of those stories that you probably shouldn't tell, but I'm about to tell. I was in the I was in the military, and I had a leader, and I believed he was very disrespectful. So to your point, his delivery, the punch in the face, right?
Yes.
And it would typically be in scenarios or situations where it's demeaning, meaning there were people
Yep.
around. Like if it was just me
Yep.
and this person, it'd be just a normal message. But it was almost, to me, this is how I'm receiving it, that you're trying to show, your rank over me by demeaning me. And so one day he did it, and I got really, it hit me and I couldn't take it. And I went off, right, on this person. So shortly after that, mentally, so I didn't go and try to reflect on what they were saying. I just responded to how they said it. And immediately after that, after I blew up, I was like, you know what? I'm probably gonna lose rank. I'm gonna be the one who gets in trouble, right? Because the military is totally different than like society, like it's in the regular world. But I didn't. But in that time, I didn't lose rank. Nothing happened to me negatively. But my point is, in that moment, I realized I cannot let my emotions, dictate or take over. I have to be purposeful about how I respond to certain things, if you know what I mean.
Mhm.
Because I was the only one who could get in trouble, by responding the way I did. So I carry that with me today, and I hear things, and a lot of people are like, "Wow, why didn't that make you mad?" Or "Why aren't you yelling at them to get them to do something?" And it's like, because it doesn't deserve any of that. It doesn't require any of that. We can get through whatever we're getting through and speak to each other, respectfully. And so I had to learn that from almost messing up my military career by responding. When I say I responded negatively, it was bad. So, so it was really bad. So it was like rock bottom. But in the end, I took that experience with me, and it stays in my head. That was, I don't know, 20 years ago, but that moment stayed in my head because a lot of times we respond to things and we hurt ourselves in doing it, right? So it just behooves you to take a moment, to your point, Kelly, and just receive it. And what I tell my team now is, when you get those people, when you get individuals who come to you sideways or, disrespectfully, try to hear the message. Try to hear what they're trying to convey. Try, because you're human, right? Try to hear the message, right? And then have an understanding. I think we talk about leveraging other people's realities. Where are they coming from, and why is that message being delivered to you this way, right? Have some empathy, be curious, and not so judgmental. So, and I say all of those words. Those are things for the company I work for right now. Be be curious versus judgmental.
Yeah.
Leverage other people's realities. These are things that will really help you in the long run, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And it won't give you ulcers as you get older from
Yeah.
being so upset about every damn thing, because people are
Right.
gonna come at you sideways all day. So
Right.
I apologize. Thanks for letting me speak on that one. You got a team of people that work remotely,
I do.
right?
Yeah.
What's one habit that keeps them and you, because you're remote, human and visible? 'Cause I see a
Human
computer
and
screen right
visible.
now, go ahead.
So yes, I have team members in the US and Canada and the Philippines. And yeah, so we recently just started a water cooler chat channel so we can just
Mhm.
share things, cuz I tend to be just always down to business, and it's like we get in a call and I'm just like, okay, let's talk about what we're here for, right? Uh
Yeah.
I have to remind myself to, like, open up with, "How are you doing?" And, what's going on in your life, right?
Yeah.
But then also we have this water cooler channel that we just started, so it's something that where we can share, like, "This is what I'm doing this weekend," or, like, "Here's a picture of my kid," or, just
I
things like
love it.
that, so we can, just share personal stuff and not be so, so focused on our work all the time. I think
Mhm.
that's helps the team bond with one another.
Yeah. That is a good one. I try to come into, I do that as well, because I don't like, I know I got things to do, but I have to be, since I've made a shift, I have to be consistent in that, that approach. Hey, Kelly, how you doing today? Everything okay? Yeah. You sure you want to talk? Put everything else on the back burner, right? Unless it's something super urgent. And I tell my people, look, here's another thing I tell them. Look, I'm going to say, hey, this needs to get done, right? Ethically, safely, do it however you need to do it. This needs to get done. I'm not going to tell you how to do it because you're the subject matter experts in what it is that you're doing. So I'm empowering you to do your job. I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but there's going to be times when I have to tell you specifically, one, two, three, this is how this has to be done. And I don't need a whole bunch of question marks. There's a reason. So I put that out there so that they know, oh, this must be very important if he's coming and saying specifically how to do it. I say that because I was doing that a lot. One, two, three. This is how it has to be done. And it takes, you get feedback from people. You have to have thick skin. You have to receive it, right? And you have to make that choice whether you're going to change or not. And so I chose to change. I chose to pivot. And now I'm more, how you doing, Kelly?
Right.
How's the family?
Right.
Just start snowing yet? What are you guys doing this weekend? These conversations, and it's not bullcrap conversations. It's like I really want to. Once you start having these conversations, you get invested. It's like watching a good show. You get invested in the characters, right? These are the characters in your real life that you're invested in their well being and how things are going. And a lot of
Yeah.
people don't make that change. They don't make that pivot because you're only focused on you,
Yeah.
right? What's going to make you successful? What's going to make you, take you to the next step? But you forget about all the people that help you get there. So, um, once again, I'm saying a lot of words, but I think that we need to keep in mind that we have people that we need to be mindful of as well, what they're doing, because ultimately they're helping you to get where you want to go.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to close that out, so I just said a few words. I didn't know how to close that thought out. I'm sorry. But,
Yeah. No, it's
just focus
true.
on your people, right?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think it is important to, yeah, remember that we're all people. Like my brain is always on like the work we need to get done and what we need to do, and
Yeah.
but I have meetings with my team where we just
Mhm.
have like we play a game or we do something where it's
Mm.
just fun and just hanging out with each other because
Yeah.
when it comes to remote work, we don't have a water cooler. We don't have a lunch room where we're, just chit chatting, right? I don't can't walk over to your desk and go, oh, picture of your kid here, tell me about that. Like we don't have that, so we have to be intentional and make space for that.
Mm.
And it's hard to do sometimes, but for certain personalities like mine anyway. But yeah, but then once you start doing it, you do like you start a call with like, oh, how's your kid doing today? Like whatever you know what's going on in their lives and yeah, just making it a habit to be intentional about that.
Yeah. And it's been a pleasure, just having this chat with you and you allowing me to go all kind of different ways. And I really appreciate it. But is there something that we didn't cover today that you'd like to share?
Oh, man, I think we covered a lot of ground today.
I know. Thank you.
But I will share the LinkedIn uh what did I call it? The LinkedIn optimization checklist with you that you can share in the show notes. And also I have a thought leader scorecard that I'll share with you that
Mm,
you can share with your audience. That is it's just a quick quiz, but it will walk you through some questions about your thought leadership and give you a score and tell you some of the things that you can work on if you want to develop your thought leadership platform.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. And where can, and I'll definitely post that and make sure that we get that out to the listeners. But where can the listeners go to learn more about you or to connect with you and your work?
Yeah. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I post content about thought leadership 2 to 3 times a week, and so you can find me.
I like
Lee will
that.
put it. Lee will put the link to it in the show notes, I'm sure, because my name
Yeah,
is not
yeah,
easy to spell. But it's my name, Kelly
yeah.
Schuknecht on LinkedIn. And then 2milehighmarketing.com. Like I said, we have the Thought Leader Scorecard. It's available right there on the website, but also we can provide the link directly to that as well.
I love it. I love it. All right. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thanks, Lee.
Today, we heard how thought leadership isn't about volume, it's about clarity, service, and steady practice. This is pre written. So, if we didn't get all of that clarity and service, I apologize. But we did want to talk about, we did talk about just having a clear message, right? How you go about your message, just not just necessarily being visible, but also having value in what it is that you're saying and what it is that you're showing. And Kelly is the tool. Her company, 2 Mile High Marketing, is someplace you need to look out to or look out for to get that message out. And tell me the biggest before we go, because I'm wrapping up. But what is like, and it doesn't have to be a specific client, but for you, what was like your biggest success story? And it doesn't have to be in money. It could be, hey, whatever. What does something like that look like for Kelly?
Hmm. I would say, I mean, for me, the biggest success story is, all of this, what I told you about with starting my business.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even at the 1 year anniversary of my business yet. So
Ooh.
for me, the biggest success was turning my personal brand into a business that I have been able to grow where I've replaced my corporate income and hired 5 to 10 people in the last year. And one of my team members said to me that, the model that what we are helping other people with, we know the model works because we're doing it for me. And we've
Mm-hmm.
had this success over the last year. So um, that to me, that's the best success story.
That is. That
Yeah.
really is. Heck yeah. I love it. I appreciate that. So, and thanks. You showed us how to align message with values, turn real stories into useful content with the DJ and the records, and measure impact beyond vanity metrics. And Kelly, I just want to thank you for your openness and practical wisdom. Um, I really had, I was really looking forward to this because I like marketing. I just never got it. I'm more in the supply chain right now, but I've always aspired to be in marketing. Like when I took the class, I only took the one class. When I took the one class, in college, I was like, oh, this is probably something that I like to do because of the
Yeah.
creativity. Anyway, so I really appreciate your words, your perspective, and wish you and your team much success that I know that you're going to have anyway in the future. Okay.
Thanks, Lee.
And for the listeners out there, if this conversation helped you, take one action this week, publish one useful post, but remember 2 to 3, pitch one podcast or write one page, and keep doing your best. Subscribe and stay with us here on Hindsight the Podcast for more honest conversations that help you to be more. Until next time, I'll see you later.
That's Hindsight.